Talking more baseball today. Up and coming is going to be the Manager of the Year candidates, and there's some pretty good, interesting candidates this year. Ones that you wouldn't have picked earlier this season. And what we're going to do in a little bit interesting way, I'm just going to give my top 5 picks, and then you guys are going to grade them and see if I'm crazy or not.
I got the red pen out, Jedi.
Yeah, I'm down.
I know. I feel like I'm going to go back into like high school. I'm about to get graded on my answers right here. To start us off, grading the top 5 managers of the 2023 MLB season. Number 5, I got Derek Shelton. Pirates don't get enough love. He's the Pirates manager. They went 76 and 86. Look, everybody expected them to be in athletics territory this year, to just an absolute flop failure of a season. But they were fighting for a playoff spot for a while, if you remember. I mean, and look, this manager doesn't really have a whole lot of good pieces, to move around in the lineup, just because the ownership and the way that they decided to spend their money and structure their team, which I know a lot of Pirates fans aren't a big fan of, but this dude found a way nonetheless, and I think they have a pretty good future ahead of them.
Yeah, let me go first, being the Buccos here, Dino. I like it, Jed. I wasn't expecting Derek Shelton to be in the top 5 here, but, it's improvement from what he was the first year. So we've seen gradual improvement. I think what kind of throws that off, you had mentioned their record, 76 and 86. Only 10 games out. I think they were only even less than that out of the wild card, too.
Mm-hmm.
There were stretches that they were absolutely atrocious and horrendous. And I don't know if that's Derek Shelton or if that's truly just the baseball gods shitting on the Pirates for half the year or more than half the year. They started off hot, they ended hot. So it kind of is a little skewed. But really, I think the big year is going to be coming this year, this upcoming year. GM Ben Sherrington finally said he's going to put some money into the program. So, I think he's going to have a little bit more talent. So it should be interesting to see what he's going to work with more talent too. But I like it though, Jedi. I'm gonna give the grade a B-, just because I'm shocked, but I love it. A little room for improvement, but I like it. Good number 5.
Now, just before I get Houdini's opinion here, I just would like to say that the reason why I chose this team was because, you don't expect this, and like I said, I really want to emphasize that this guy's team, it sucked. The Pirates didn't really have a lot of good moving pieces, and I'll tell you right now, I didn't pick Craig Counsell, and I know some people are going to get mad at that, but like when you look at teams like that, like the Brewers, he has Corbin Burns, he has Brandon Woodruff.
He's got a lot more.
Exactly, and I think that needs to be said with what Derek was able to do.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, okay, so yes, they finished 8 games back from a wild card spot. I don't know if that's so much just oh, he did a great job, or the fact the NL wasn't that good towards the tail end, right? The Diamondbacks sneak in. Yes, they're playing in the World Series. Yes, their brand of baseball works in October. But when you look at all these teams, the teams that are in front of them, the San Francisco Giants, the Cincinnati Reds, the Padres, the Cubs, are you really talking about legit baseball teams? No. Right? Do I think he did a good job? Cruz was hurt most of the year, if not all the year.
Yeah, I think he got about a good month in, and then he got the rest of the year,
Yeah, they traded Carlos Santana. Either way you slice it, right? They were negative 98, minus 98 in run differential this year. It's not good. The
record is sneaky. That's what it is. They started wicked hot, and they ended wicked hot over the last 15 too. So I forget what it was, and you might have it in front of you, Dean, but they were
they started
10 and 5 or 11 and 4 to the last 15 to end the year, and then the first 30 games they were on fire. It was one of the greatest starts. The Pirates were first in the division at one point in May or in coming up in June. It was nuts.
Yeah, I mean down from the Reds all the way to the Rockies. This is the bottom 7 teams in the NL. They technically had the best record over the last 10 games out of all those teams, and they went 5-5. So, all those other teams just, 4-6, 3-7, right?
Yeah.
So, all those other teams didn't really have a good end of the year either. But, I mean, yeah, he doesn't have a lot to work with. I'll give it a C+, just because it's the Pirates.
Oh, damn, you guys just shitting on my Pirates.
I know, I literally, did I not call this?
For World Series.
No, I mean,
shit, I think they were at the same place in the postseason this year.
Aaron Boone does not even get an honorable mention in my grading.
Dude, I look at this, right? The bottom 4 teams in the NL with run differential are the Rockies, the Nats, the Cardinals, and then it's the Pirates. So
when it was bad, it was bad.
Yeah, it's a C plus. But what amazes me when I'm looking at these stats is somehow the Mets were only a -12 run differential and they sucked.
That's wild.
So yeah, I'll give it a C plus. We can round it up to. I'll give it a B minus and just make it a B minus. Just give it a B minus.
So I'm passing right now. Let's see if I continue to pass. Number 4, I got the Orioles manager, Brandon Hyde. Look, they went from a joke of a franchise to, a feared franchise for many years to come. Obviously, the organizational depth is helping this dude. But we've seen teams, like you just mentioned, Houdini, the New York Mets, where they have all the pieces, but you're just not able to put it together. And I think that does fall on the manager. With Buck Showalter there, I don't know if there was just no chemistry in that clubhouse, but it falls on the manager. Look, Brandon Hyde was able to do that. I don't have their record in front of me of what it was last year, but it was, I believe they were they were just above 500 for the first time in like many seasons.
Close,
and then this year they get over 100 wins. So hats off to him.
In 2022, they were 83 and 79. They had a -14 run differential. In 2023, they went 101 and 61 with a +129. It's an A minus. I'm not giving it an A or an A plus because of how quickly they exited October, but it is an A minus.
Yeah,
and that's why they're down in the 4 spot.
Hit the nail
Brandon
on the
Hyde
head.
is.
Hit the nail on the head there with why it isn't an A plus. That was sad. Now, granted, it was to the team in the World Series right now, but still, it was very unceremonious. I'm excited to what they're going to be next year as well, too. You mentioned that farm system, all the talent that they was able to work with, young talent. So it should be really, really interesting and really cool to see what he does next year. But I think it was awesome, and maybe it's him, maybe it's the pitching coach who I don't know who it is, but the staff was definitely the weakness of the team going in. Everybody knew it, but he still managed the staff really well, got to the bullpen where it was just locked down on the bullpen. So a lot of those intricacies of managing, I think he did a great job. Team of the future right there.
He also got some postseason experience himself for managing, but a lot of these young players that you were talking about got that postseason experience for the first time in their careers. Because a lot of them are playing their first year in the show, a lot of these guys. And now, like you mentioned, Jackson Holliday's probably going to be the shortstop for them next year. So very bright future ahead for Brandon Hyde if he continues to do what he's doing.
The most impressive thing about this entire conversation about the Orioles and their organization and all that stuff is just because of how young they were. They were tied for the best record on the road, which with a young team is kind of hard to do, to manage all that travel, the emotion, the grind, all that stuff. They went 52 and 29 on the road. So yeah, and everyone knows Baltimore's a tough place to play, and I just think that's just the sad way that they went out in October.
This is Hot Shot Podcast. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, Jedi. Give me the sound effects, baby. The Orioles will win 3 World Series in the 2020s.
Wow.
We're already 3 years through the 2020s. That is a hot take, man.
That's a hot take.
That is a very hot take.
If they hit on a couple pitching pieces and a couple free agent pieces over the next 2 years, that team is set up for 5 to 6 years of dominance.
Yeah. No, look, it's a hot take just on the quantity of how many World Series you're saying that they're going to win, but it's not a far-fetched dream for them. They were 40 games over 500.
That should be the expectation for the talent and how quickly they did that turnaround.
Yeah, they got beat up a little bit, learning experience. Next year they should be ready to rock.
Mentioned them before on who the Orioles got bounced this postseason by. Bruce Bochy's number 3 for me. Look, never has lost a Game 7, and he just did it again, which was pretty cool to watch. Comes into a new organization, only his second year, and brings them to a World Series with the hope of winning for the first time in their franchise history. A lot of injuries this whole season he had to go through in a very, very shaky bullpen, but the dude has managed to make it work, snuck into the postseason after losing the division, and then now making his way to the World Series with still that shaky bullpen. But he's been able to craft using, Montgomery, who's normally in the rotation, putting him in the bullpen and utilizing Chapman and not these really stress situations because it looks like he's been struggling with those lately. So I had to put him in the 3 spot.
For Bochy, how do I want to do this before the World Series ends? How do I want to do this? I'm going to give Bochy I'm going to give him a B plus. And
now, what if he wins the World Series?
It'll probably go up to an A, but I'm giving him
A plus.
I can't go A+ because I don't know how much it's like. Okay, well, let me start with this. The tail end of the regular season was bad.
Yeah, yeah,
It was bad. They limped in, right? Like they backdoored their way in. They have ridiculous veteran leadership on that team, right? Seager's there. Obviously, like you have DeGrom and Scherzer in that clubhouse, right? Like you do have veteran presence. Now, they do have an influx of youth that is helping them. However, in this postseason, without Adolis Garcia, I don't know where they are, right? So how much of that is coaching? How much of that is just like your team's hot at the right time? How much is that of like, of certain pitchers are getting too much of the plate? Like this dude is breaking every record in the postseason. And I know it's an extended postseason, so some of those like records are a little swayed, but like.
But the games in a row with home run, like that doesn't matter. Yeah, like that would have happened no matter what.
Yeah, like I think he's done a great job, but I do think his players are carrying most of the weight.
I don't disagree with you, Dean. I think, and I think it was Fox doing one of those puff pieces or whatever. I forget who they were interviewing, but what they said that Bruce Bochy brought to the organization was he was always even keeled. So when the Rangers were absolutely tearing the cover off the baseball, and looks like they were world beaters and World Series contenders early in the year, and they were leading the AL West, everything was going great. He's very even-keeled, down to earth. When they hit the doldrums, when the skies were falling, everything was going wrong. Are they going to miss the playoffs? Are they choking? Are they going to be historically missing this shit right here? Even-keeled. When players know that the manager isn't going to freak out and go all crazy and make lineup changes, go absolutely berserk and change everything 100%. They have that calmness, and being able to have that just kind of takes the pressure off. So I like it, Dean. I think I would probably say A- at this point, and if he wins the World Series, A+.
Look, like I get the even keel stuff, but the man's 68 years old. Like I don't know how.
But he's won how many World Series? Won 4 World Series?
Yeah,
3 or 4?
But like I don't know like how up and down he can get just health related. You know what I mean? Like when I'm 68 years old, like. And I mean this, when I'm 68 years old, I know I'm one Ranger overtime game away from a heart attack.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? Like, look,
I've watched Ranger games with you too. That's accurate, dude.
Like
if the Rangers blow an overtime loss, you might die.
But like, also, I do think a lot of that even keel stuff comes from Simeon and Seager. Like they're even keel guys.
It does, but having that backup as a manager and it coming from the top, it always lead from the front kind of thing. You're always going to have more support behind you.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Now, my number 2 pick is a manager that's just going to always find his way into one of these lists. He just countless times again always proves to just be a fighter, basically. Kevin Cash, manager for the Tampa Bay Rays, every year finds a way to compete with guys that nobody has ever heard of. He's the candidate for manager of the year almost every year, and it seems like he almost wins every year, too. He does annoy me as a Yankee fan, but he does know what he's doing. All the injuries this year, he found a way to make this ball club win 99 games. Mind you, the most competitive division in baseball. Lost 4 spots in his original starting rotation and lost plenty of guys in their everyday lineup. And he was just like a next man up mentality and just putting those pieces together and finding stuff that works. Also, too, I don't know what he does out there with the farm or the arm barn that he has out there, but the dude always finds like just guys that know how to throw fuzz, and they're all over pitching ninja, all the guys in his bullpen. They're gross.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm going to throw out a hot take here. I'm giving him a C+, and I'm giving him a C+ for a couple reasons. The stuff he did to manage his team when you lose McClanahan and then obviously Wander, right? Like, yes, that's going to affect your team in one way, shape, or form. But in October, they got their doors blown off by Texas. They scored 1 run in 18 innings. And this is just a knock on the organization in general, right? You're hosting those 2 games. They had a total attendance of 39,800 people. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I have nowhere else to place the blame. You won 99 games. You did it with a bunch of no-namers. Great job. You got fucking blown out in October.
Yeah, it's hard to not take getting the the doors blown off him, like you elegantly said, into too much consideration. But one game away from 100. Like Jedi said, 4 rotation spots losing it. You lose Wander to some heinous shit. That's the cornerstone of your franchise. Like when that happened, Dino, we were talking because the McClanahan injury was like right around there too. Like, are they done? Like, those are organizational pieces, and they had that historic start also to start the year too. That was pretty cool. I like it. I think this is more like B+, A-. I probably wouldn't have him at 2. But I like it though, Jed. I think it's a great pick for one of the top managers in the game.
Now, I just would like to defend this one last time with what Houdini was saying, with just that he said when Wander was out and McClanahan was done, he said this is the end of this franchise. Kevin Cash here said no, and still almost got 100 wins.
Yeah, he listened to the Hot Shot podcast, Dino, and said, you know what?
That's right.
Doing it, Dino.
Well, no, you can't close the book on that statement right now. I also said, God knows how long ago, that Trevor Bauer would never pitch in the MLB again.
He's coming back.
No shot.
You still don't think so?
No.
I'll give you your chance right now to save face and say he's going to come back and not hold it against you.
We can just put it in truth or fluke.
There's just no shot, man. There's no shot.
Even with all this stuff coming out, that was essentially it's all made up.
Dude, if Colin Kaepernick never played another down in the NFL for taking a knee, this dude's not pitching again in the MLB for having rough, dirty dirt.
And with that, the anticipation is here. My number 1 pick for the best manager of the 2023 MLB season, Diamondbacks manager Torey Lovullo. I feel like this was expected. No one thought that this team was going to make the playoffs this year, let alone now in the World Series. This was just such a young team, and he has found a way to lead them to the World Series, and that speaks highly of him and his capabilities of managing a team. The performance speaks for itself. I feel like I don't really have to defend this all that much.
No, this is an A+. It's a group of young guns that are too stupid to realize what they're doing in October. That's a dangerous place to be when you're mixing like youth dumb kids and like good baseball. You know what I mean? Like, we were there in 2016, Jedi. Is that when it was? When the Yanks were like the kids were carrying us? Was that 2016?
2017 was technically like when Judge was a rookie, but Judge came up in 16 with Tyler Austin.
I think it was 2017 then, where like everyone was young and we had the expectations and it was fun, and you're like sitting there and like they're just too stupid to realize what's going on. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I just think that this team is so electric to watch. They play small ball when they have to. They can hit for power when they want to. They play an old school brand of baseball, and it's really fun to watch. And it's just like Deepaul, you say, it's from the top down. This dude's legit. And if their uniforms were just a little nicer,
I kind of like them.
Nah, I hate them. I like the old school ones better.
The purple?
I like the vest, the pinstripe vest with the purple sleeve. Like, I like those 10 times better.
No, those were lame. The purple sleeve ones were lame.
People are hoping that they wear them in the World Series when they're home.
I hope not.
No. I don't know. Dude, Deepaul, I don't know, man. Like, do they still rock the snake skin on their pants? Is that still a thing? Like, I don't know, man. Like, look, that has nothing to do with the manager. The manager's an A+. The organization, though, like...
I got a pool in the outfield, all right? You can't go against it.
Honestly,
that's an A+.
No, I'll throw this in there. They have a C+ for the organization because their playoff tickets were like $4. And I'm just curious how much the World Series tickets are. Did they bump up to $5? Because that's embarrassing. And they still couldn't sell it out, mind you. It still wasn't sold out.
No, it's going to be popping now because I think like the Phoenix Sun fans are starting to realize like, okay, we may not be that good. The
Yerds are playing in a college level stadium right now.
Yeah, like they suck. The Arizona Cardinals blow. So like, there's nothing really to rally behind. So
teams in the world, the baseball teams in the World Series.
Yeah, like like that's the wild part is like, do you think there's people that are like sitting at their like kitchen table with their family and they're like, oh my god, have you seen how this local Diamondbacks team is doing?
Reading the newspaper, probably. Yeah.
Like so lame, dude.
No, I love it. I think he had a great year. They just play differently. I believe they led the league in stolen bases this year, which is pretty cool. I know there was a lot of talk about the changing of the rules with the pickoff moves and making the bases bigger. So I like it too on his side. Maybe it's organizationally as well. but recognizing that fact, knowing, hey, we got some speed. Let's go, be aggressive. I think one of the things that I like about him the most, though, is they put pressure on the other team. Not necessarily in just stealing bases, but they got some speed. They're just aggressive, man. They make you think about the next play and kind of almost hurry up, which, I love. That's Houdini. You said it earlier. It's a different old school style of baseball. Like, that's how baseball should be played in my eyes. You can still hit home runs and still hit for power, but like fundamentally the things are right. They bunt whenever. Not every time there's runners on first and second, but when the time calls for it and it's a big spot in the game, especially in the playoffs, they're bunting. They're doing that small ball, moving guys over. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, if you look at the offensive leaders for this season, they're not in top 5 in anything except for stolen bases, in which they're second with 166. So it's more than one a game.
You got that up right now?
You'd be shocked.
First, is it the Yankees?
It's the Cincinnati Reds.
I think I did know that. They got a lot of young dudes that came up and were stealing. Yeah.
But overall, though, what would you grade my manager little top 5 ranking here? What was my report card? Average it out.
I'd probably give you a B+. I don't like the Cash pick because I just think that is. I think, and I don't know. I'm just saying something. I could be wrong, right? I don't know how much that organization is into analytics, and I feel like they're so heavy into analytics that I don't feel like he does that much anymore.
Interesting.
I could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
That's just me. I don't know. I'm just kind of shooting something out there in the dark. But I just feel like they've been ahead of the game for a couple of years now.
Yeah, right.
Where people have been asking, well, how are the Rays?
What are they doing down there? Yeah,
yeah, and there's just no way it's Cash. Cash doesn't come to town and completely flip an organization that's operating on Oakland A money. Right. So I just feel like they're ahead in the analytics department a little bit.
I think it's either the B+ or A-. I think Jedi. I think it's a good list. So I think I'm going A-, bud. I think I give you the A. There's some room for improvement, but I'm not going to lie. You had me a little shook when you went Derek Shelton at 5, but when I look at the list now, it's a good-looking list, man. Good job.
I'll give you an 89.4.
Thank you.
And you can do some extra credit to maybe get to
to bump that up. Bump that up to a 9.
Thank you. Well, everybody, let us know what was your grading on my list and put your top 5 down in the comments for the best MLB managers this season. If you do like this content, though, make sure to subscribe and follow at Hotshot Podcast on all platforms. But until then, though, we'll talk to you next time.
Deuces.